Welcome back to the KTBS 3 Freedom Fest finale.
Hello, everybody. One of the things that I really love about where I live is that the people who live here are proud of God and country and really proud of our military. And nowhere is that better exemplified than right here. This is an incredible museum, Marshall, Texas. Let me just show you. See the flag back there? That actually flew over a warship in the South Pacific during World War II. It's just one of the incredible exhibits in this beautiful museum in Marshall called Service and Sacrifice, Harrison County at War.
In seconds after the bombs were dropped, an anti-aircraft shell took out the wing. As the aircraft sped to the ground, a few crew members parachuted to safety, but Jack was never found. He was in the Bataan Death March in the Philippines. He was on 3 different, what they call Japanese death ships. Lewis radioed that he was outbound and headed back to base, but he and his crewmate never returned. James W. Lewis joined the nearly 2,000 other Americans listed as missing in action during the Vietnam War.
We call them heroes, and they were. But they were also your neighbors. If you grew up in Harrison County, you knew or knew of Jack Wyatt, or James Lewis, or Carrie Abney. And certainly you knew about Perry Bonner.
But he was in every battle. Then he was a spy in France. He was on Omaha Beach, and he survived Omaha Beach. He survived all of his time in the service and came back to Harrison County to Marshall, Texas, and started a sporting goods store right up here on Washington.
And oh, by the way, Perry Bonner was the second most highly decorated American GI during the entire Second World War. The museum shows it all, beginning with the Civil War. There is a letter from a young soldier asking his parents for socks, and the actual flag taken into battle by a unit from Elysian Fields.
And they didn't have a flag, and the ladies said, you're not going without a flag. There are places in that flag where they would have reunions, and the Civil War veterans from that unit would cut a little square to take home because it meant so much to them.
Then there is Romeo Williams and the Tuskegee Airmen from Harrison County. Each answered his country's call. Some came home, others did not. But in this place, not dedicated to war, but to service and sacrifice, their stories will live on.
This museum is not about wars. It's about the people who are willing to stand up and say, I believe in my country, and I'm willing to sacrifice myself. And my family's willing to sacrifice being home without me to defend this country.
One of the things I really love to do when guests come from out of town is I always take them to very special places in the Arklatex. I call them treasures. And of course, that's one, the historic Harrison County Courthouse. But folks, let me tell you, there is another one. And I suspect a lot of you have never visited. It's only 20 minutes from here, south, down Highway 59 in Carthage, Texas. It's called Footprints in the Sand.
There is something going on just off the loop in Carthage, Texas.
One lady came, she cried for 45 minutes.
People just show up.
That the man that came, he said he'd been 16 years since he got out of prison.
From all over they come.
People from Alabama, people from Austin, Texas, Jacksonville.
To see Jesus.
I lost my son 12 years ago in a motorcycle accident. He's my only child. And when I walked this pathway, I felt his presence.
It began 20 years ago. Bob Harness, an artist and sculptor from Kansas City, wanted to come south, decided Carthage, Texas would do. He was retired but couldn't stop sculpting. Did a half-dozen statues around town, then decided on one of Christianity's favorite stories. Jesus carries a hurting man, leaving only his footprints in the sand.
I told my wife, I said, I want to do this. She said, how much is it going to cost? How much you getting paid? I said, Martha, I'm not paying anything. I'm getting paid anything. I said, God gave me this talent. It's payback time.
Then the miracles began.
He walked in the door. He said, Bob, God told me to help you. And I've been praying, said, God, I bit off more than I can chew. I need help.
The kids began to visit the studio.
And will come here with their parents and say, I worked on that leg, or we just had someone here that their daughter did the hand.
Land was donated, trees cut, dirt given. Then the memorials.
He was killed in a car wreck.
You know, I want you to know that my mother would come out here every day when they first put the statue up before all this is done, and said she came out every day. She died this morning.
People just began to leave things.
All the change they could gather out of their car and just handed us what change they had. They said it's not much, but we just want to be a part of it.
The statue is believed to be the tallest bronze of Jesus in the country, but it's not just him.
And it's every day you come, these people drive in, they'll tell you why this statue means that much to them. Or mostly it's the footprints, the actual walking path.
As he was finishing up, Bob Harness had a dream.
I woke up one about 2 o'clock in the morning, sat on bed, put a Bible in it.
So he did. It's up there.
But inside, he has a heart. It's our bronze.
And in that heart, the word that carries men, even when they do not know.
We said, whoever finds this, and maybe 50, 100, 500, 1,000 years from now, somebody may never find it, but we know it's in there.
Folks, it's like I always say, we have some incredibly talented folks here in the Arklatex with huge hearts, and this is just an example. Footprints in the sand. Oh, by the way, you can see it anytime right off Highway 59 in Carthage. Bill, coming back to you.
Coming up, he's a pastor and a patriot, a local pastor standing firm in his faith while fighting for freedom.
God and country. God is my commander. The country is the country I live in that He created. Biblically, He gave me authority to fight for my country and defend my country. So it's God and country.